All right, you're watching Ken Rebetis TV, Be Your Best Self and Uplift Humanity. This is the live show known as Managing Your Health. And with me is Master Herbalist Patrick Delves. You are live from the Grenadian by Rex Resorts. Patrick, welcome.
Yes, welcome. It's been a long time, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. We used to work together on the station.
Yes. yes.
And I wanna applaud you for, always trying to get a program on health. But that is so significant because what people in the Caribbean are suffering from lots of diseases, So
yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Love that. Nice stuff.
Great. All right. So it's going to be an open show. You can ask Patrick literally any question from A to Z. He'll give you an answer. And we'll also get the ball rolling by asking some general questions here, yeah? So welcome once more. Patrick, diabetes is a major problem in Grenada. What's going on with this illness? How can it be treated?
Good question. Diabetes is rampant in the Caribbean. Again, it's because, and let me just make this statement. St. Lucia have the most diabetics in the Caribbean. 1 in every 3 persons in St. Lucia have diabetes. In our country here in Grenada, 1 in every 5 persons have. But it's not only in Grenada because it's the 3rd leading cause of death in the U.S. Right behind heart disease and cancer. So heart disease is the 1st leading cause of death in the U.S. Then you have cancer behind, and then you have complication from diabetes. That is also a problem. In the Caribbean, as I said, lots of people eat a lot of starches. They call it junk food. Yam, the tanias, the breadfruits, the plantains, the cassavas, the figs. They also, when you go to a restaurant in Grenada, you find a lot of the people have all these starches in the plates. And they're all acid foods. And the pancreas is part of the endocrine system. It's a gland that is the most active gland in the digestive system, is that particular gland, the pancreas. And the pancreas feeds from the pituitary gland in the brain to help to produce insulin. So the pancreas have 2 parts. One is called the endocrine part of the pancreas, which produces insulin, which is the hormone. And the next part of the pancreas is called the exocrine part of the pancreas. The exocrine part of the pancreas produces enzymes, and the endocrine part of the pancreas produces insulin. So the exocrine part produces amylase, protease, and lipase, the break down fats, protein, and starches, or carbohydrates they call it. Yeah. Now, if there is a bombardment of sugars, which is not really natural, coming into the pancreas, the exocrine part of the pancreas produces lots of excessive amount of these enzymes because it's a really complex disease, diabetes is. It produces lots of the enzymes, especially if the person is eating an acid diet. And in the Caribbean countries, we eat an acid diet. Starches and proteins are both acid. So the average person in the Caribbean eat a plate of food with protein, starches, fats, and a small amount of vegetables, which have mostly of the enzymes. So when they eat that way for a long period of time, if they're prone, so if they have it in the family then, they have what we call a genetic predisposition of getting that particular disease. You know what I'm saying? Then if they change the composition of the secretion in the pancreas, which function in an alkaline terrain of 8.0, 8.3, if they change that composition from 8.0, 8.3 to 5.0, 5.5, diabetes steps in. So let me say this now. Now the pancreas regenerates between the hours of 1 a.m. in the morning and 3 a.m. in the morning. So when the average person get up in the morning, the pancreas is just rising. So between 7 and 11, the pancreas don't do nothing much. And lots of people feed that particular gland so much sugars in the morning, fruits, and fruits are eaten in the morning regularly. They eat a lot of fruits, and then automatically when they're eating all these sugars in the morning, their pancreas is not really in motion yet. So all of a sudden they burn up the function of that gland. And they burn up the enzyme function of the exocrine part of the pancreas and change the composition of the pH in the secretion of the pancreas, and then eventually diabetes steps in.
Oh.
That's what it is.
So, you know, I'm in a lot of talk of type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes. What's the difference?
Well, type 1 diabetes is juvenile onset diabetes. Little children get that. And that's when either a virus attacks the pancreas, a bacteria attacks the pancreas, or your immune system, which is supposed to take care of the pancreas, it turns on the pancreas and destroys it. That's type 1.
Type 1.
Yeah. Type 2 is, you could have, it could be repaired. That's type 2. Older people get that. But now we have people, younger people in the 20s and 30s coming down with diabetes now. You see what I'm saying? And that's because the diet changed. We started to incorporate another person's diet. And once you incorporate the next man's diet, you're going to get the next man's disease. And that's why cancer is on the rampant over here too. But in terms of diabetes, you can repair type 2, but you have to know what is causing you to have it. So, you have insulin resistance, you have insulin sensitivity, and you have insulin deficiency. If you're deficient, that means the pancreas is not producing insulin. So you have to shoot it. They give it to you from the pig. Pig insulin. They call it Novolin. They have the cloudy one and they have the clear one. Right? If you have insulin resistance, your pancreas is producing insulin. But the beta cells is with your beta cells or your receptors, which receive the messages from the insulin, which is the hormone, don't receive the message because there are a lot of fats blocking the receptors. So the insulin is like a key. You don't go to the keyhole and open the door for the insulin to go in to burn your sugar up as fuel. That's insulin resistance. If the person who have insulin resistance is mostly people who are overweight. They have a lot of fat, a lot of fatty liver, and they block up the receptors. That's insulin resistance. Once they lose the weight, they fix diabetes. You follow me now?
Yeah, I do.
If you have insulin sensitivity, you can, right? And I, Patrick Dells, will eat 4 slices of bread, and your sugar will jump higher by eating 2 slices, while mine stay normal, eating 4 slices. That's insulin sensitivity.
Right.
So you have to know what it is, and that's why the medical system don't fix it, because they give you a drug. And the drug they give people, a drug called glucophage or metformin, same drug, it causes acidosis, a side effect of it.
Acidosis in the stomach, where?
Yeah, that's what it causes. Metformin causes that. And if you have acidosis, you will never fix diabetes because the pancreas functions in alkaline terrain. It's
this is deep.
It's what I'm saying here. And that's why because people are not educated about their health and just know to eat. So between 11 and 5, or 11 and 6, the pancreas is working. Yeah? Right? After 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, the pancreas has to rest down to regenerate. If you start feeding it sugars at the wrong time of the day, you're going to have trouble with diabetes long term. You're going to burn it up. So after a couple of years, the pancreas become tired of the abuse. You have lots of complications. You have diabetic neuropathy. The legs start to get very numb. Pins and needles in your toes, in your hands, your fingers, and you start to get blackness in the limbs because the nerves is being damaged. That's when a person's sugar level is too high. Then you get diabetic retinopathy. Start to get troubles in your eyes.
So wait, vision and so on?
Yeah, because now the sugar is so high, it starts damaging the retina. Once the retina becomes detached, a person starts to have vision problems. Once you have a high sugar level over a long period of time, you start to get troubles in your heart. See? So some doctors, what they do, if the person has insulin resistance, we just talked about that a while ago, then they give them insulin. But they don't tell the patient that the person is producing insulin already. So they don't need no insulin no more. They need to get rid of the fat and receptors. So they give them more insulin. They just give them a double whammy.
So why do they do that?
Because they don't know better. They don't look for the cause of it. They just give you insulin because they say, you know what, the pill's not working, so you got to go on insulin. If the person is suffering from insulin resistance, you cannot give them insulin because too much insulin will harden the arteries and cause the patient to have more troubles in their heart. Is that what I'm saying? So
the...
Now, if you have diabetes, we talked about diabetic neuropathy, damage the nerves, you can't feel in your legs, have to cut them off. You get ulcers faster too. If you have diabetes and you're not taking care of your sugar levels, you start to get kidney damage and kidney failure. Because lots of diabetics lost kidney function. The GFR becomes very low, and when the GFR reaches under 60, the doctors start to monitor you for kidney damage.
What is your GFR?
It's called it's a sensitive rate of the blood moving from the filter units to the kidney. So if that GFR, that's a rate, the rate that the blood moves to the filter units of the kidney, if that GFR is lower than 60, because the older we get, it gets a little high. If it starts to go lower than 60, and if it's 15, you got kidney failure. That means that the blood, or the units, that the rate that the blood's supposed to go to the units, the filter units are damaged.
Oh.
So then the kidneys start to fail. Then they have another one called BUN. It's called a blood, BUN. It's called blood urea nitrogen test. And that again is also put into the kidney. If that is high again, you're getting kidney damage. There's another one called creatine. And creatine helps with muscle function. If that also is higher than 1.5, 1.6, 2.5, the doctor will tell you you're getting kidney damage. You have to help to regenerate your kidney. Yeah? Then you have the potassium, and you have sodium, because they all are what we call a renal test. So the sodium is supposed to be about 135 to about 148. If you pass that, it's bad. And the potassium is supposed to be about 3.5 to 5.4. If that passes that level, the doctor will know that you're having something in the kidney. And some people, if they can't metabolize calcium and phosphorus and sodium well, they get kidney damage too. So that's why we always try to tell people to prevent diabetes, because it's a very complicated disease, complex disease that is, but it could be deadly.
So how can we go about preventing it?
Well, the way we eat. Eating is, the way we eat is important, because a lot of people say, well, you know, I have it in my family, my mother had it, my father had it, my mom had it, my grandmother had it, my aunt had it, so I'm supposed to have it too. That's not true. You could make a detour from the way you eat. So that's why I said in the beginning that you get what we have called a genetic predisposition to the disease. You don't have to get it. But if you eat the same way that your mom and your dad been eating, you seem to get it too. So that's how you have to prevent by looking at how you eat the foods. You have to use more complex carbohydrates. Starches, I don't really use starches. The body don't really function in starches. Not even 10% of the body function in starches. But in the Caribbean countries, it's a really starch diet.
Yeah. Everything.
Everything is starch. Everything is sugars.
Yeah.
So in Grenada here, you make some pumpkin soup and they put sugar in there. Caldo soup, they put sugar in there. Everything have sugars. And then remember that you have the sucrose and the fructose and the lactose, all the oats are sugars. So you have to look at the one that is natural. So for instance, white sugar against like say maple syrup. If you use white sugar, that is foreign to the pancreas. So when the white sugar goes in, the pancreas is not so used to this foreign sugar that it starts to produce lots of enzymes in the exocrine part of the pancreas to bring the sugar down. So the sugar goes up real fast and it comes down slow, because it's a foreign invader to the pancreas. That's why white sugar is a terrible thing. If you use maple syrup or you eat a fruit, we have fructose, then the sugar goes up slow, and in about 20 minutes it comes down quick, because it's not foreign to the pancreas. You don't burn up the enzyme function of the pancreas, because when you burn the enzyme function up, that is where the trouble comes in with diabetes.
So the sugar in fruit is known as fructose?
Yes.
Okay.
Sugar in fruit is fructose.
Right.
And you have sucrose and lactose and all them O's.
So Patrick is something else. Great stuff. Don't forget, you can ask any question. Patrick is here for some time, so feel free to ask some questions. So Patrick, so how do we go about treating diabetes the herbal way?
Well, you know, the first thing I ask patients, I'm trying to find out from patients, is what the diet is like, the family history, or the family story. I don't know history. It's history, it's story. So then we look at the diet, and we look at how they eat the foods, and then I will ask them question: do you drink coffee? Do you drink soft drinks? Do you eat fried foods? Do you drink a lot of water? Do you have good bowel habits? Do you go to the bathroom every single day? Do you eat barbecue foods? Do you eat and go lay down and sleep?
Gosh,
Do you eat at, do you eat at night? Because all those things affect our digestive system. And as I said in the beginning of the program, that the pancreas is the most active gland in the digestive system. It's working every day. Because everything we eat must pass there. It must try to break it down through the enzymes. See? So if you have foods sitting in your digestive system overnight, and your digestive system is not working, your stomach is not chilling, you're sleeping now, and these foods stay there and ferment, it will start to affect the pancreas, because that's why I said that all diseases starts in the digestive system, except these environmental diseases like leukemia and Hodgkin lymphoma. All the others start inside there. So the pancreas is tucked under your liver. And the gallbladder is tucked under the left lobe, I think, and the pancreas is tucked under the right lobe. So your liver is significant in maintaining your glucose levels because it stores glycogen and releases it back as wet sugar in the blood when it receives a signal from two glands on top of your kidney called the adrenal glands. So if your sugar drops too low and you want to suffer from hypoglycemia, that gland on the top of your kidney send a signal to your liver and say, liver, this man's sugar is too low, release some wet sugar in the blood. Your sugar goes back up because they work in balance.
So if that gland on the kidney isn't functioning, then
hypoglycemia steps in if your sugar goes too low. Because some patients have a low sugar level of 44. That's too low. They get jittery. They can't function well. They could go into a coma too. But the adrenals supposed to send a signal to your liver and say, yo, too much, send back some wet sugar in the blood because now that sugar is too low. Everything is in balance. If you don't have a balance in the digestive system, your pancreas is going to suffer and you are prone to getting diabetes because the stomach is the earth and the small and large intestine is the earth and the liver is wood. Wood comes from the earth, right? And the kidney is water. Water comes from the earth, right? And the heart is fire. Fire comes from the earth, right? And the lung is metal. Metal comes from the earth. No. Fire, heart, water, kidney. What out fire, not water? So if you have troubles in your kidney, you're going to have troubles in your heart.
They're all connected.
Kidney is fire, lung is metal. If what burn metal? Fire. So once the kidney send the water to your heart, you get cardiac edema. The heart say, I am not a water pump, so I'm going to send the water to your lungs. You get pneumonia, short breath. You see what I'm saying to you? Because they work together, man.
It's like a chain link, and if a link is short, and
so,
literally everything else affected.
Right, so when you start messing up the stomach now, which is the earth, everything comes from there. Ain't nothing from the sky. A lot of them Christians look everything in the sky. You can't get in the sky, you put it in the earth. Your clothes you wear from the earth. Maybe it says them right here from the earth. All them food, they come from the earth. The car you drive, the plane you fly, they come from the earth. So if you contaminate the earth with toxins and poisons and chemicals in foods, the food's going to poison you, ain't it? So if you contaminate your earth, which is your stomach, by putting the bad things in there, long term, it is the mother of all the other organs. It will start to what? Contaminate the other organs, and the other organ I call the children will get sick. Or when the earth, which is the mother, gets sick, the mother will cry, she will mourn, the children will mourn for the mother. And when the children get sick, the mother will mourn because they're not in balance.
Okay.
And that is what diabetics have to learn. They're going to put back everything back in balance. So what we do now, we look at the diet, and I take them off all sugars.
Like completely off sugar?
Completely off sugars.
Not 75%?
No.
90%?
No.
Completely off? Okay.
Completely off sugars. Period. Even fruits they can't eat.
Oh.
If they're bad.
Okay.
Because some people have a sugar level of 500 milligrams per deciliter. That's high. You're supposed to go from 70 to 100 milligrams per deciliter in the morning. If you're higher than that, if you're 130 in the morning, I mean you're borderline diabetic. Some people have a sugar level of 241. I've got a patient here from St. Martin now. She got up in the morning, hers is 279. Every morning she's there. Now we have it down to about 230 in the morning till we get it in the 100s. See what I'm saying? So we look
at
at
what level can a person pass out?
500.
Wow.
Even your low 244 milligrams deciliter, you could pass out. 500 is high. When you put a stick in the machine, you check the sugar, you say high, that means you're over 500. Because the machine can't read it. Because the machine don't read over 500. You see what I'm saying? So when the machine says high, 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 you better start to go and get your estrogen insulin. So what we do, we look at the diet, and then we take them for all sugars if they're bad. And if they're on drugs, I don't take people off the medication. I deal with complementary medicine. I complement what the doctor does.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah? So what I do is, I ask the patient, would you like to come off your medication? Yeah, I take drugs. I say, well, I can't take you off like that, but I want to wean you off. If you want that, if you want to stay on your medication, I'm going to look at the side effect of what it is doing to you, and I'm going to curb the side effect with herbs. See what I mean?
And the wean you off here, just for clarity, you gradually take them off?
Gradually. It takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. People want to come and get quick fix. I always tell patients, you want to get a quick fix, don't come by me. Go by the doctor and get some drugs and take some quick fix. Don't come by me if you want quick fix. My thing take time. So what I do is, I will put them on a program, and if once you have that, a lot of diabetics in Grenada don't have a machine. They go check once per month in the medical station. When they come by me, I say, listen to me. If you want me to help you fix your sugar levels, you have to have a machine. You must check. You must know where you're at, what number is at. So you must know when you check if it's low, if it's high. So I made them get a machine, and they got to check 4 times per day. First thing in the morning, an hour after the breakfast, an hour after lunch, and before they go to bed. So I will know how the pancreas is working. So if you can, Roy Batiste, take your sugar levels at 9 o'clock at night, and it says 250 milligrams per liter, and you get up in the morning and you check it again, and it says 350 milligrams per liter, your pancreas is not working good because your sugar is supposed to be low in the morning time. So that's how I check them. See? And then what I do, I start to give them enzymes. Because what the enzymes do, they help to feed the pancreas, the exocrine part of it. So I made them take 3 enzymes 3 times per day after their meals. So when they take the enzyme goes into the system, and they help the pancreas to produce all the enzymes to break down all the foods properly. Then all of a sudden, the sugar start dropping down.
Nice.
Natural stuff. Then they go to GTF chromium, glucose tolerance factor. That also, chromium is also found on the temple of the pancreas to stay normal. Doctors don't tell them that. See what I'm saying? So I give them the glucose, the GTF chromium, and they take 800 micrograms per day. 800 micrograms. And don't forget, zinc is a mineral that functions like enzymes, but the zinc helps to regenerate the enzyme function. So I give them 50 milligrams of zinc. And then I give them 400 to 600 milligrams of magnesium, which is also important to prevent nerve damage. You follow me? But it's also help the pancreas too. And I give them 600 milligrams per day. And then I make them check, and I give them a formula called pancreate. Herbs.
That's it.
Yeah, herbs here. And what these herbs do, there's an herb called Jimmy Sylvestre. There's another herb there called cinnamon. We have it right in Grenada here.
Oh, yeah.
Spice.
In abundance.
Right. Cinnamon helps the beta cells to utilize insulin well. It drops sugar levels down. Then I give them another herb called gentian. It's a digestive bitter. And we call one here Zebapik. One the herb bitter in it.
Very much.
Zebapik. Then I give them another herb called blueberry. And then I mix them together. And then what that formula does, the herb in there called Jimmy Sylvestre act as what we call a sugar destroyer. It drops the sugar fast. So we mix them together, and they all do different things to the pancreas. Some of them help to normalize the function of the gland. Some of them help to drop the level of the sugar levels. And some of them help to work on the stomach, to help the stomach to digest foods well, so that the pancreas functions well. And some of them work on your liver, to help the liver to maintain your glucose levels. And then all of a sudden they start checking, they say, oh, wow, I'm back down to 70 milligrams per liter. Wow. So even taking the medication now, the doctor's drug, I make them take it every other day, but I make them lock the sugar levels down. So in the morning they said, okay, sugar read 150 milligrams per liter with doctor's medication. The next day they don't take the doctor medication in map. Sugar level reads 100 without doctor medication. If that sugar level read 90 to 100 all the doctor medication for 3 days and make them skip another day. And then I wean them up day by day.
Yeah.
And then I take them off the doctor medication, then I keep them on the enzymes and the herbs for about a month or two, and then I take them off. And I make them control the sugar by lifestyle and diet, because I don't believe in taking nothing forever, because that is a death sentence.
That's deep. That's deep. Person Bowen, thank you for watching. You're asking, why are diabetics seemingly always hungry?
That's a good question. The reason why they tell diabetics they must eat small meals all the time, because when you have and they get very thirsty too. They drink a lot of water.
Yep.
That's again going back to the cells. It's not balanced. And then the digestive system is not balanced, so they get hungry fast, because when the foods go in, they're not absorbing well in the small intestines, so they get hungry fast. And then some diabetics have parasites which eat the food and make them more hungry.
Yeah. But imagine the diabetics that have parasites, and that further complicates the problem.
Yeah, so I gotta do a parasitic cleanse around the full moon. 3 days before the full moon and 4 days after the full moon, I kill the eggs and the worms, and then I kill them off. And then a lot of diabetics have yeast problems too. Put them in a yeast cleanse. If they have the problem, yeast and parasites, I clean them out. And then all of a sudden, you see the hunger start to go away. The thirst start going away. Because now, what it is, they're back in balance.
Okay. Nice.
The digestive system, you must keep that area healthy. Because that's where all disease starts.
In the digestive system.
Yes, Kenroy. And that's what a lot of people doesn't teach us. So for instance, a man marry a woman very young, 19, 20, 21, he get married, and he having sex 3-4 times for the week, 5 times for the week, 3 times a day. Ask him if he could do that when he reached 40. He dead. You know why? You know why he dead? Because his wife, you know what I mean, all respect to the women, but they were trained wrong by the mothers. His wife was trained by her mother to cook. So when he reached home 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evening, she gave him a big plate of food. Yam, tanya, dashim, lager, breadfruit, macaroni and cheese, all starches, and a big piece of some dumpling, and a piece of big steak or some chicken and some gravy and some eggplant, and he eat that 7 o'clock. And he gone in his bed 10 o'clock. But he don't know that them food sticking in his digestive system. It can't go nowhere when you're sleeping. It can't churn. And she feeding that way for 20 years. And when he reached 40, she come and she touch him and he can't get her. And she said, what happened, baby? Baby, I'm tired. I'm stressed out. But he didn't know that she's the one unconsciously caused him to have these troubles. Because your body, your stomach don't churn at night. So when you're sleeping, your stomach's supposed to be empty. Because when you're sleeping is when the body starts to regenerate the organs. And the body heals itself in that way. So if a man start eating late at night for years and years and years, and he is killing his digestive system, killing his liver, killing his pancreas, killing the gallbladder, automatically, long term, he come down with diabetes too. And he want to find out why you have it. I don't have it in my family because your wife been feeding them food 9 in the night time. You're going to sleep with food in your belly. And if the food's supposed to take 8 hours to digest, and you eat it at 7 o'clock, and you go to bed at 10 o'clock, it's not 8 hours yet. So where the food at? It's in your stomach, fermenting, and called it putrefaction. And then habits start to happen. And your stomach tells you sometimes, you say, you give your little bubble, you say, you get a little bubble, bloatedness, you get gas, you get indigestion, it's dysbiosis, you don't take no heed. He tells you, give you a sign, a symptom. And then all of a sudden you say, you know what? I ain't talking to you no more because you're listening. And then boom, diabetes comes in. Boom, high blood pressure comes in. Boom, the troubles come in, cataract and glaucoma, bad circulation, impotence.
Right.
Your penis can't get hard.
Yeah.
When you're 30 and 40.
Patrick Dells, Master Herbalist. If you're just watching Ken Rogatis TV, Be Your Best Self and Uplift Humanity, this is the show Managing Your Health. We're talking all things health. You can ask Patrick any question literally from A to Z. We're talking diabetes at the moment. So Patrick, it seems to me, based on what you say, a lot of illnesses are as a result of our lifestyle choices.
Lifestyle choices. I'm 61 years old. Yeah? And I don't have no troubles with diabetes. I don't have no trouble in my joints. I don't have no joint pain. I don't have no eye troubles. I could read fine print. I don't have to do that.
How old are you, sir?
61.
Lordy.
I don't have to do that and look and say, I don't do that. I do that and
wow.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm shocked.
Yeah. I have 8 children. My oldest child is 43. My first son is 43 years old. You know what I'm saying? Because I learned, because I had a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
I had a stroke where I lost my left movements. And that's why I'm so adamant on people to tell people what to eat. Mm-hmm. I had epilepsy. I had migraines. They just take an old drug called Epilin. They tell me epilepsy can't fix. They tell me when you get a stroke, it won't get better. And look at me now. I didn't lose my intellectual,
mm-hmm.
but I lost my movements. Because I couldn't talk in the beginning. Talk was slurry.
So let's move right away to epilepsy. How did you go about treating it?
Well, I learned Chinese medicine because, you know, when I had epilepsy, I went to the brother called Hans Muller, never forget him. When I first went to live in New York, I used to take an old drug called Epilin, because I used to beat up in them. I used to get them in a dozen. And I took it to a Chinese guy, Chinese herbalist in Chinatown. And this guy said, you could fix your epilepsy. I said, oh, the doctor said you can't fix it. Yeah, you could fix it. And he started giving me some herbs. But the first time I saw a Chinese take some herbs, and he put about 7 herbs in one bag, not plastic, but in the brown bags. And he said, no aluminum pot. Get some cast iron. I had to look for the cast iron pot. And the herbs was bad, but he put 7 herbs on a mat, each mat, 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, this one is for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. And he said, okay, go home, clean, start taking the herbs. Start taking the herbs. I find first week, I get 1 attack. He used to get 3 and 4 per day. Second week, none. Third week, 1. Fourth week, none. Fifth week, none. 30-something years now, no more. He said your brain needs L-theanine, choline, beta-carotene, choline, magnesium, because magnesium is an antispasmodic mineral. Mm-hmm. It is found in the hippocampus of the brain. If there's not enough magnesium in your brain, you start to get and the B complex including B12. And I never looked back after that. And I said to myself, I have to go and help other people what I learned. So I don't hide nothing.
Mm-hmm. Steve.
I don't smoke, I don't drink.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I used to smoke ganja, you know. I was that big chalice. Your blood is smoke, you can't see me. But smoke got a stroke. I never said the guy when I smoke, I got a stroke.
So the ganja gave you the stroke?
I never said give it to me. I'm only saying after I smoked the weed, mm-hmm. I got a stroke after. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And after that, I say, you know what? They look at the ganja, give me the sugar, good for me. I leave it alone. So mm-hmm. I'm a disciplined person. Mm-hmm. I don't indulge in things that's not good for me. Okay. That's why I don't eat foods that is not good for me. I don't eat meat. I don't eat pork. I don't eat flesh. I don't eat it.
Like completely, you don't eat it?
No, I don't. I eat raw food. I eat once per day, 3 days per week. And the average person feel you have to eat 3 times per day. That's not true.
I want you to weigh in on that because that's the culture we've been raised in. Take your meals, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner.
Well, I want to say that I like to call them so-called dietitians because they're so-called. They go to school and learn, and they have a lot of education, but they have no common sense. Because common sense will tell you that you have 5 organs of elimination. You have the small intestine, large intestines, liver, kidney, and the lungs. Right? They're the 5 organs of elimination. Yeah. The pyramid diet that the so-called dietitians promote, where you have the pyramid diet means you have to have all the foods in one plate. Mm-hmm. Starches or 6 food groups. The say you must have them in one plate. But when you eat them that way, they don't tell the people that the pancreas, same pancreas that causes diabetes, now say, hold on, man, you have starches, protein, fats, all kind of thing in your stomach. Which one are going to break down first? So it sends conflicting messages to the enzymes. And the enzymes do not know how to break them. Let me give you the next example. They taught us how to eat the pyramid diet, but they didn't tell us that all starches, carbohydrates, digest in your mouth. So if you put a piece of yam or a piece of potato in your mouth and you keep it for about 2 to 3 minutes, it turns to sugar. Because in your saliva, there's an enzyme called amylase that makes the sugar from here. So all the digestive processes of the starch foods start to break down in your saliva, in your mouth. Now when you chew a piece of potato or a piece of yam and it gets into your stomach, it can't stay there. Because the acid that your stomach produces kills the enzyme called amylase that breaks down the starch food. So what happens to the starch? It moves. It can't stay in your stomach because the acid kills it. And it moves and it goes into the small intestines, 21 feet long organ, and then that's the first organ that cleans your blood now, not your liver now. And then the pancreas and your small intestine produces a little bit more of the same enzyme that is producing your saliva to break down the yam and the potatoes in your small intestines. So starch foods do not digest in your stomach. No dietitian could doubt that.
Wow, that's an aha moment we right here.
Protein foods now. Chicken, fish, yam, chicken, fish, turkey, pork, proteins. When they get into your stomach, in the earth, which is called the stomach, the same thing happened to them down there. The acid that produced in the stomach kills the protease that breaks down the yam, the protein in your stomach, which is the fish. Mm-hmm. But your stomach have a backup called pectin that resists the acid and cause your flesh foods to break down in your stomach. Bottom line. So if you eat, common sense will tell the dietitian now, that if you eat a piece of yam or a piece of potato with a piece of chicken or a piece of fish, when they get into the stomach, the potato can never go nowhere. And fish take 12 hours in your stomach to digest. Chicken takes 7 hours. Beef takes 18 hours.
What am I hearing there?
I'm telling you. So if you eat them together and they get into your stomach, the yam and the potato must wait for the fish or the chicken to digest before it moves, so it becomes idle. And while it is idling in your stomach, it starts to ferment. It causes fermentation, and fermentation causes acids.
Not good.
And acid causes diseases.
Not good.
So then when the fish digests, what happens to the yam? The yam move, and it moves undigested and finishes the digestive process in your small intestine. The only thing is your fish still in your stomach, it can't go nowhere. So the average person who eat the pyramid that the so-called dietitian promoted them, they get diabetes, they get cancer, they get lupus, they get scleroderma, myasthenia gravis, muscular dystrophy, bad circulation, varicose veins, and eye troubles and high blood pressure. And the hospital full of them. If that was a good diet, here was I said to them, if your all diet was so sound and perfect, the pyramid diet that is, how come the hospitals are full of people like them who eat it every day? I mean, something is wrong. And how come the hospitals are full of people like me who eat once per day, 3 days per week? You ever check it out that way? The person who eats 3 to 4 meals per day, as we were taught, hospital full of them. Because you know why? They keep on killing the organs. And they eat 3 meals per day and go to the bathroom once per day. So where the other 2 meals are? If I eat 2 times per day, I go to the bathroom twice per day. Because I eat the foods, I alkaline my foods.
So you alkaline.
So if I eat a protein food, if I eat a protein food, I eat a protein food with a alkaline food. Green leafy things. So the green leafy things buffer. It's like vitamin C and calcium. Vitamin C, too much vitamin C irritates your kidney because it's acid vitamin. But if you combine it with calcium and magnesium, which is a buffering agent, the pH changes from what? From 6.0 to 7.0, 7.5, because the calcium and magnesium buffer the vitamin C, so it don't irritate your kidney.
So you can actually stick a pH, so you can actually have an overdose of vitamin C?
Overdose, you can get diarrhea.
Oh, diarrhea.
Yeah, but it irritates your kidney if there's too much of it because it's acid vitamin.
Right.
But when you buffer it, that don't happen.
Okay.
So I just buffer.
Right.
I don't eat acid foods alone. I eat 80% acid, alkaline foods, and 20% acid foods. But the body needs acid now too.
Well, I think a lot of people are doing the reverse of that.
You see, the average person in Grenada eating 80% acid and 20% alkaline. And that's where diabetes comes in, because you can never fix diabetes in an acid terrain, because the pancreatic secretion function in a pH of 8.0, 8.3 alkaline. So the pyramid diet that the so-called dietitian promotes so much over here kills the pancreas. My diet saves the pancreas. And the hospital don't see me. I have a joint pain. I could shook my finger right now and my sugar will be all 75, 70. You know what I'm saying? I will eat at night. After 3 o'clock, I don't eat no more.
Oh yeah?
No.
After 3 o'clock,
I don't eat.
You don't eat?
Yes.
So you don't drink water?
I drink water because water goes into the system very fast. But I don't eat no protein food after 3 o'clock.
Wow.
I eat proteins in the morning. See, that's what I'm trying to tell people, because people have to learn these things. You eat protein in the morning. If the protein takes 5, 6 hours to digest, if you eat it by 9 o'clock, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, gone into the small intestine, into that, all it as waste. See, that's the key, brother.
Well, Patrick, we have a culture. I mean, I'm so appreciative of all the knowledge here, because we have a culture that, for example, people are eating chicken and fries in the night and all of that.
They know better. So when you eat them food in the night, you must have troubles long term. You know what I'm saying? Because these foods, your body's supposed to be, your stomach and your organs are supposed to start to regenerate at night time. You're supposed to rest. You could just take a rest your vehicle. When you go bring your vehicle to a mechanic, you can't drive it. You have to rest it in order for you to fix it and tune it up. So when you're resting in the night, and you're not supposed to have food sitting in your stomach, and the stomach don't churn when you're sleeping, because the stomach is a processing center that churns your food. You eat it, it churns like a washing machine, and start to produce all the digestive juices, acid juices, to bring in your protein food in your stomach. So if you have it, foods in there sitting, when you're sleeping and your stomach don't churn, it's common sense. You don't have education to know these things. Common sense will tell you that that food will sit there and ferment, and it's gonna, your organs will harm you long term. And that's where you get cancer from. Right. Because all the food sitting there and ferment and turn to acid, and then all of a sudden the thyroid gland can never function in an acid system properly. It will. It will give you troubles. Make you gain weight. Your heart function better in an alkaline system.
And the thyroid as in a hyperactive or when it's not functioning, like, okay. Some people have like hyperactive thyroid, right? That will result in what?
When you lose weight.
You lose weight.
Yeah, when you have hypo, you gain weight.
Oh, okay.
So when you have hyper, you eat a lot, but you lose weight because you're burning up things fast.
And that's the active one.
That overactive.
Overactive.
The hyper.
Yes, overactive.
Right. That's your parathyroid that causes you to have the trouble, because you're not metabolizing calcium and BP complex properly. So you have to metabolize quick. You have an acid system. So the thyroid has to metabolize quick. If the body's an acid, it's kind of tricky. But if the body's too acidic, then it's too little. That's why a lot of people get gain weight when they get older.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say a woman, when she's happy, when she's young, she's slim and nice, and when she reaches 25 and 40, you get broad. And so I don't lose the weight, but she's thyroid messed up.
And then people keep saying, well, as you grow older, you'll gain weight because your metabolism slows.
That's not true.
Yeah?
See me? I'll be 138. I don't go further than that, man. If I go 1 pound, I go mad. I want burn it out the next day. Because 1 pound is toxin to me.
Okay.
1 extra pound.
Right. Person Bowen is asking, as men, how do we care for a prostate? Thank you, Person.
Good question, man. Well, when you pass the age of 40, because now we're having young brothers now coming down with prostate cancer.
So it's not how old people think?
No. In the older days, we used to have the 70-year-old man having prostate problems. They call it stoppage of water in the Caribbean. You can't pee. Yeah? Say that's an old man thing. That's not true. Now, John Charles died from prostate cancer at 52. You know what I mean? The Caribbean invader died from it at 59. So a lot of men don't understand that too much sex kills the prostate, and no sex at all kills the prostate. There has to be a balance.
Patrick Downs! Talk about the genius. Go ahead.
Right? So let me tell you that now. Now, in the prostate gland, it's a very small gland tucked under the bladder, under the ureter. It is not part of the urinary system, but it could give you troubles in the urinary system. because of where it's located. It's right under the ureter that carries the urine. That's why when it swells and it squeezes the ureter, you can't pee. And that's where it's fountain. So as I said before, it's not part of the urinary system, but it could give you trouble there. So it's right on, it's like a walnut, and it's tucked right under the prostate. That's when the doctor puts his hand in the rectum, you can feel the prostate there. Right? Now, a lot of men must understand that when a man goes to the bathroom to pass fecal matter, he must not sit on the toilet bowl like that. Never do that.
How must he sit?
He had a squat. Either he put a 1-foot stool in front of the toilet bowl and put his feet on top of it. Or he squat. Yeah. Why? When he sits, the worst invention of the white man is a toilet bowl. When you sit on the toilet bowl like that, your sigmoid colon squeezes. So some of the fecal matter get caught. They get trapped in the sigmoid. You either get a few things there. You either get polyps in the sigmoid colon, growths, because the waste there, you get hemorrhoids, or they call it piles, bad circulation in the rectum, or the waste which get trapped in the sigmoid start to drop into the prostate gland and cause the prostate gland to swell long term. Now when you squat, elevate your feet, the sigmoid relaxes, and then the waist moves out.
So there's a passage.
There you go, brother. A lot of men don't know that. You have to learn that now. So we tell you, brother, learn that one now. Now, so the prostate is a small gland that's tucked under the ureter, and the prostate needs nutrients. And the main nutrient that prostate needs is a mineral called zinc, Z-I-N-C. Zinc is found in the prostate in abundance, and it is all found in the thymus gland. Right on your neck here, the thymus is right there, yeah? And it's part of the immune system. So if there is not enough zinc in the prostate starts to suffer, because the prostate secretes a prostatic fluid, and the prostatic fluid that the prostate produces or secretes sends this fluid into the testicles to make your sperm have good velocity. So your prostate is important, a very important job. So I just massage mine.
You massage your prostate?
I just massage my prostate, yeah.
Right.
And I just do the Kegel
And what does the
exercise.
massaging do to it?
It helps to move all the waste from the prostate gland. Or what men could do with the Kegel exercise, they could squeeze the scrotum back and forth, and help to exercise the prostate too at that time. Yeah? Right. So then the prostate needs zinc, and it needs exercise and nourishment. Right? When we get older, it starts growing. See? So a man will go and take a PSA, it's called a prostatic specific antigen test. It's a cancer mark of the prostate gland.
I heard about that.
Wonderful. When a man takes that, I don't even go by that either. The doctor's no doubt in that. A PSA. You do the PSA come back between 0.0 and 4.0. That's the normal range in a man's prostate gland in terms of the PSA. If the man is more than 4.0, the doctor say, whoo, look at the PSA going high, we got to check for cancer. Let's do a biopsy. So he goes in and pinch out 12 pieces of the tissues of the prostate gland. I don't believe in that either. Because I don't always teach men, because men know better. You could have a high PSA and have prostate cancer. Or you could have a high PSA and don't have prostate cancer. And you could have a low PSA and have prostate cancer.
Oh.
So that's when the PSA is all messed up, biopsy is all messed up. When they pinch 12 pieces of tissues of the prostate gland to see if you have cancer in the prostate, and if you have cancer there, they could disturb the cancer and cause the cancer to move. So that's why I don't believe in the PSA. I don't believe in the biopsies.
You don't believe in biopsies?
No, I don't.
Okay. So
because if a man has prostate cancer, all you have to do is keep the PSA down, low. Once the PSA stays under 10, the cancer is in the prostate gland. If it starts to move and go to 50 and 60, the cancer is active. It's moving out of the prostate to the capsules and getting into his blood, into the bones. Can't walk. Good. Not good. So what we do with men, we like Talkie Ventu, it's a brother who had prostate cancer and fixed it in 5 years. Okay, he's cancer free now. And we wanted to take out his prostate gland and give him chemotherapy. You know what I'm saying? So once we get the PSA to go back to normal, down to under 10, we know for a fact the cancer is not moving, so the cancer could stay in the prostate for 5 years and didn't kill you. The cancer can stay in your prostate for 10 years and don't kill you because it's under the number of 10.
Oh.
You follow me?
Yeah. Okay.
But the doctors made them get scared and say, yeah, you gotta move quick, you gotta take out your prostate gland. and then you got to do some therapy, you got to get some bacteriotherapy. That's all the therapies that they have in the medical system. But they don't tell you that you could keep the cancer in the prostate and don't die from prostate cancer. So in order for a man to take up the prostate, he might take 50 milligrams of zinc per day. There is a company called Rainbow Light. All men should get a product. It's called Rainbow Light. It's a herbalist. He makes all his products from food base. His name is Michael Tierra, wonderful herbalist too. He makes a product called Men's Multi. And in that product, he puts a lot of herbs, lots of vitamins, lots of enzymes, lots of probiotics. So it helps the prostate, sexual health, heart health, and also energy. And you take one a day. And that helps to keep the prostate healthy. There's a herb called saw palmetto that helps the prostate also. And men should also take that particular herb. What it does, it prevents the alpha reductase, the enzyme, from converting into high dihydrotestosterone that causes the prostate to become enlarged. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if it's swollen, if the prostate is enlarged, you can't pee. They put a catheter in the penis, you can't pee.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
a bag on your side. No, we ain't want that.
No,
because we have to have sex. We have a wife, a woman. So, you know what I'm saying? So what we do is we use some herbs. One is called Collinsonia. It helps with vascular integrity. We use another one, the saw palmetto. We use another herb called white sage, and we use another herb called zuti.
Zuti.
We have in here the root. The root shrinks the prostate. White sage shrinks the prostate. So while we are shrinking the prostate, we are helping the urinary system, and we are helping the bladder to move the urine out, and the prostate shrinks naturally.
Okay. William Gates joining us. He's asking, what about meat eating? Should I stop? But just before that, let's just answer Pessin's question. What foods provide the zinc that men need to care for the prostate?
Nuts and seeds. Pumpkin seeds have a lot of zinc, have a lot of good fats, help the prostate gland too. I use a lot of, in the morning I use pumpkin seeds, with sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, and almonds, and some walnuts, and I blend it in a blender, with some red bananas, and coconut milk. And then I take a supplement of zinc, and I put a powder of some magnesium and some calcium in there, and I take that. That's my meal for the morning. It's a drink, a protein shake I make. And then I use peas and beans in the powder form, and just blend everything up, you know. And I take care of the prostate that way.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I want to tell men again that too much sex is bad for the prostate gland. Because when you're past the age of 30, you do not produce sperm every day. Don't forget that. So you're going to have sex 3 times per week, 4 times per week, and you're 30 years of age. Past 30, you're going to kill your prostate eventually because you make sperm every 3 days. Learn that as a man.
After 30, you make sperm every 3 days?
Every 3 days. That's why no man who want to know could do that. When we're 19 and 20, we need to start 3 and 4 rounds, 5 times. Do that when you're 40 now. Do it when you're 40. You can't do it. You have to take a whole off before you get hard again. Why? Because you don't make sperm every day. When you're 20, you make sperm every minute, every 5 minutes. As you have an ejaculation, you make the sperm. Not at 40. At 40, you had at 30, you make it every 3 days. And that's the reason why you're not supposed to have sex every day after you're past the age of 30, because eventually you're going to burn your prostate out and you're going to burn out your penis, and then you're going to get horny eventually.
Patrick is too much.
You understand?
All right. Willen is asking, what about meat eating? Should I stop?
No,
I jointedly. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't tell people to stop eating meat. You know, that's their choice. You know what I mean? I don't eat meat. It's not meat. It's flesh. Meat is vegetables. Flesh is cow and beef and stuff. You know what I mean? The Bible tells you in the beginning, vegetation shall be for your meat. Genesis 1:29. So meat is not flesh. Flesh is fish and chicken, and meat is vegetables. Yeah, but I don't stop people from eating meat. All I say to people, if you're going to eat the meat, make sure the meat is clean. Or we eat meat, especially black men, because prostate cancer is more pro black men than other races, because it's a lot of meat poor. So I said don't eat meat. I'm saying they have to eat the meat at the right time of the day. And if you're going to eat the meat, eat meat more in the morning time, so the meat's going to move out by 2, 4 o'clock, it's gone. And eat it with vegetables, not with starter. Eat meat maybe twice per week.
Oh, okay.
If you're going to eat flesh, sorry. Eat it twice per week, and don't, because doctors are telling us that lots of the men who come in with prostate cancer is really meat eaters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and because there's studies proving that. So you know they look at the diet of the man, and they find that the man who eats lots of flesh foods, he can with prostate cancer faster. So when they have prostate cancer, I take it off for all flesh. And then I relax the prostate, clean the prostate up with herbs, and then I put them on a program, and in about 4-6 months, the prostate is repaired.
Okay. Nutris Williams, thank you very much for watching from the USA. Thank you for watching. Is fish safe to eat anymore?
Not is safe to eat. Because when they're making salmon, the salmon looking big so.
Wow.
Shallow water fish is the worst fish. Jacks is no good.
Mm-hmm.
No. Because shallow water fish picks up mercury. And if you eat a lot of things that have mercury that have in your brain, you kill your heart too. But I don't believe in the fish. The fish in America is the worst fish to eat. The waters are terrible. The water is polluted. There's people in the water too.
And so much like oil spills happening.
Oil spill happening also. So the fish is being contaminated also. So you know, if you're gonna fish and clean. If you're gonna eat fish in clean water. Try to get some deep water fish. You know what I mean? You know, look for the deep water fish like the halibut and stuff. They're the deep water and they're more tuna have a lot of mercury too. So you have to look at that. But I don't tell people don't eat fish. As I said, if you want to eat these foods sparingly. If you want to fish, you hold your own fish. Right? Because when people want fish, they put all kind of stuff in the fish, and you know what I mean. So sure you can, but as I said, fish takes a longer time to digest than chicken. Okay. Because of the fats. You can eat the fish, but sparingly, you know.
And she exclaims, "Oh my God!" So she has had an aha moment, Patrick, based on what you just said to her. She's so based on what you said, explain the fish situation. Yeah. She's so surprised, so shocked. So she has exclaimed, "Oh my God!" Yeah. Right. Alex Cumberbatch is saying, "So fish is not good. So what can we eat?" I don't. Just clear up a bit so that there's no misunderstanding, because you're saying you're not going straight out to say fish is not good.
No, I'm not saying that
specifically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Water fish.
Right, deep water fish. That's what I'm saying to people. I say to people don't want to say, "Guys, don't eat no fish." When you're like, "What we gonna eat?" You know what I mean? I don't eat flesh, and I'm surviving. So you know, I don't have a food eater. You know, but as I said before, if you're going to go strict vegetarian, again vegetarian, strict veggie, vegan, no flesh at all. You have to be very careful, because if you just come off, if you eat a lot of flesh and just come off the flesh foods, you can get pain in your joints. And when you're eating flesh food, you make your B vitamins in the intestine from the bacteria. And when you're strict vegan, you have to really take some B12, because you don't make it, and you can get pernicious anemia. So as I said, I'm not saying don't eat fish. I'm saying that eat the deep water fish. Try to stay away from the shallow water fish, because they pick up a lot of mercury. Eat the deep water fish as much as you can, and look at where you're buying your fish from. And don't eat farm-raised fish either. They're terrible.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right. But I want to ask you, and keep your questions coming, people. You know, in the Caribbean, and Grenada included, you know, you always hear people saying, "Oh, eat your provision, boy, eat your provision. Make sure you get your fig, make sure you get your tanya, your blogo. If you're eating that, something going on wrong with you." Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I'm often confused, because it's like, if you don't have that as part of your diet, you're missing out. You're not doing your body right.
I don't miss it out. I don't eat breadfruit. I don't eat yam. The only thing I do with the breadfruit is I make breadfruit mayonnaise. Because I don't use mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is a killer. Kill your heart. So I use breadfruit. I take the breadfruit and I boil it, and I crush it up, and I put it in a blender with a little small amount of olive oil, with some sea salt and some cane juice, and I make a little bit of, you know, mayonnaise with that. But I don't eat breadfruit for sake. I don't eat yam, don't eat tanya, don't eat blogo, don't eat plantain. I don't eat them. I don't eat a lot of starches. I don't eat them because the body don't function on them, and they're very sticky. So when they get into the intestines, they clog it up. So when you eat a lot of starch foods now, bread is a killer too. Bread, you see, bread and cheese, and milk, and crackers, you eat them, and when they get into your system, and they get into your intestines, they're like plaster Paris, because they're sticky substances. So when they get into your intestine, they start clogging up the passage of the intestinal walls, and they start sticking there in your intestines, and they cause the passage to become very thin. So when you go to the bathroom, your stool is not as fat as your intestines no more. You start to have thin stool because of starches. I don't eat them.
Okay.
And that's the reason why we have so much diabetes in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
They eat too much starches. Starches morning, starches evening, starches night. Crazy.
Yeah.
Sugar is supposed to go up and in, sugar is supposed to go up and out. About the 5 flavors. So when you eat sugars, you're supposed to burn it up as fuel. Because the most sugar is found in your brain. cholesterol is more found in your brain too. Boop. So burn it up, it's fuel. If you don't burn it up, start to store it. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So you have to use the sugar at the right time of the day. Don't use sugar if you're living in a hot climate. Do not use sugars in the morning and do not use sugars at night. Use your sugars and your fats when the temperature is hot so you can burn it up.
Great.
That's the key, man.
All right, let me just scroll up a bit. One moment. So who's tuning? Right, Person Bowen Patrick is asking, what foods would be good to stimulate the brain of those who have dementia?
Dementia, what causes dementia? You're not supposed to have dementia if you have eaten right. When you cut a cabbage, what does it look like? Cut a cabbage. Look into the cabbage. You don't look like your brain? Check it out. When you cut a piece of tomato, I don't really eat tomatoes because of how they messing up the tomatoes now. When you cut the tomato, it looks like your arteries, right? Clean arteries up. So lots of things like cabbages, what they call a hybrid food, I know what they're talking about, because a lot of foods is, they say hybrid is not really hybrid. But when you eat a lot of food, like I just use cabbage juice, and I mix it with some beets, I juice them in a juicer. And they're good brain foods. They're good for the brain. Lots of okra. See okra? A wonderful food for the brain, you know. A lot of people know that, you know. A lot of foods that have a lot of magnesium, like lettuce, pork choy. They're good for the brain. They're brain foods. And when you say about prevent dementia, dementia comes from heavy metal poisoning of the brain. That's where dementia comes from. We're supposed to have, we were made in the image of God.